Remember that possession battle thing we just talked about? It just cost the Pacers a game. They lose to the Spurs by 10. The Spurs out-possession them like crazy. The Pacers, a new starting five. Some stuff looks better. Still not enough to win. Where is the joy for these guys? We'll talk about all of it today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday/weekend, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin, and today the Pacers lose yet again. They're 11th in a row, one loss away from tying the franchise record. Oof, the Spurs beat them this time. No Wembanyama, no problem for the Spurs. Their guards get to the cup all night. The possession battle massively favors San Antonio. Despite a new look starting lineup for the Pacers shoot over 50% from the field, do a lot of stuff well. They lose the game. What happened? Why this one actually felt like a little revealing to me as a game in general. Micah Potter starts and looks great. Aaron Nesmith starts as expected, looks pretty good. Jarace Walker does not play in the second half instead of Kam Jones. That was kind of odd. What went into that? A lot to get to today. I want to start with this. This game hit me different. And I don't even mean that as like I matter or like, what my opinion of the team matters any more than anyone else's. But I have been tracking and thinking about their top player availability. I just did a segment on it around Christmas and how few times they've had their top X number of guys available. Of their top 9 from last year, they've had 6 available now 3 times, right? They had 6 available on opening night, and then Nembhard got hurt at halftime, and that game went to double overtime. They looked pretty competitive against the best team in the NBA. They had 6 available in their last game against the Magic as Ben Shepherd returned, and that game, they were also, they were winning in the fourth quarter, came down to the final seconds. So every time they've had most of, 2/3 or more of their guys from last year available, they've looked pretty good. And then this time, they're playing the Spurs without Wemby at home with Nesmith, Nembhard, Mathurin, Siakam starting, McConnell, Shepherd available off the bench, and they're down double digits for most of the game. They got it to within like 6-5 maybe. I can't remember how close it got in the second half. 6 is my belief off the top of my head, first closest it got in the second half. But from the early second quarter on, the Pacers were just helpless and down a lot, and they could make some punching runs, but the Spurs were just better than them in this game. And that was the first time I thought, man, like even with their best guys available. Now, granted, a guy who's been on the team for 5 games and is playing very well. I'm just using the 5 games for context. Started at center alongside all of this, and Micah Potter played quite well and probably should keep his starting spot until he stops playing well. But this game hit me just like as like, man, even their best players are missing something from a connectivity, intensity, consistency, joy standpoint. We heard the joy line again about finding the joy of basketball from Micah Potter post-game of all people. He is very joyous. He's playing very well. He's getting his first standard contract money of his life. He's very grateful for the opportunity. And he's like, dude, I love basketball. Being in the NBA is fun. And he's got the joy, and he looks great. And I think that for a team that has so much whiplash from being amazing and making the finals game 7 last year to the worst record by a lot, by the way, now in the NBA this year, they are missing some joy, as they should. Losing sucks, right? But that you see how it is affecting their play and affecting their connectivity right now, right after the petty nonsense presser 2. And a lot of guys played okay. All of the following players shot 50% or better in this game: Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, Michael Potter, Andrew Nembhard, Ben Shepherd, Johnny Furphy, Jarace Walker, and TJ McConnell. Like, the Pacers played pretty well in a lot of aspects of this game. The possession battle, which we'll talk about in a second, completely sunk them. But this game just was the first time it hit me like, man, even really healthy, they look awful. Not awful. Even really healthy, they don't look very good. And I know that everybody has said, wrongly to be clear, that, if they get healthy without Haliburton, they'll look better. But something is just still rotten off with this group right now. I know their development from young guys hasn't shown enough. And Jarace Walker had a good first half, but in general, that popped up again. And all sorts of stuff has been dominant storylines. But I thought, and I still think this could happen, it's only been 3 total games and 2 in a row, that getting more health would make them look more competitive all the time. And this was their first game with 6 of their top 9 from last year where they did not look competitive. That can't happen. Even though if you take away the second quarter, as was also pointed out by Micah Potter postgame, they win. They win. This is a theme for the Pacers this season. 41-27 second quarter in favor of the Spurs. That's plus 14 San Antonio. The Spurs won by 10. So the other three quarters combined were Pacers plus, I can't do math. I believe that's 5. Whatever that is. You can do math. Plus 4. Duh. Right? They played well for some stretches of this game, but it didn't feel like it because they were so bad in that second quarter. The Spurs lead got as high as 19 in this game, despite the Pacers making shots, despite the Pacers having a relatively manageable number of turnovers, 14. They shot it well enough at the foul line. They made 12 of their 33s. They had 26 assists, a lot of stuff that you'd go, yeah, we're feeling good as the Pacers. Maybe that is connectivity. And they got blasted. So what happened? Well, if you listen to the podcast immediately before this, I wanted to talk about something that has not been talked about enough with this group, and that is one of their superpowers from last year evaporating, the possession battle. They never turned it over last year. They forced a pretty good number of them. They were slight negative in the rebound, but they really offset that with turnovers. They win the possession battle a lot. They win a lot of games. And even last year, obviously, it helped that they made a lot of shots and had really good efficiency, but they also were pretty good in the possession battle. This year, they're the worst team in efficiency. And so when they have efficient nights like this, the hope would be that they could win. But the other way they could make up for their poor efficiency is the possession battle. Get rebounds, get offensive rebounds in particular, and win the turnover battle. Those two things would go a long way towards helping the Pacers in games like this. And they got smoked in both of those categories. And really across both halves in different ways. Let's zoom out first, right? The Pacers shot from the field 51.2% this game. The Spurs shot 44.9%. So the Pacers were 6% better on shots. What? The Spurs shot under 30% from three. The Pacers were at 40%. Crazy that the Spurs won this game handily because the Spurs took 98 shots. The Pacers took 86. That's plus 12 for the Spurs. And the Pacers took 15 free throws. The Spurs took 28. That's plus 13. So if you want to divide that as 2 free throws per trip, that's 6 more trips. That's like 18 more possessions for the Spurs. It probably settles in a few less than that. Depends on who gets the ball when, things of that nature, the clock at the end of quarters, all that. But a lot more chances stacks up when it happens over the full game. So how did that happen? Exactly how it happens every time you lose the possession battle, turnovers and rebounds. The Pacers are a pretty good turnover team. Even this year, they had 14 in this game. That's, again, an not awesome number, but totally manageable. If you have 14, you can still win a game. The Spurs had 12. They had a team turnover added after the game ended. So that's plus 2 possessions for the Spurs. The one that really swung it was offensive rebounds. The Pacers switched to Micah Potter as a starting 5, and he did fine. He had 6 rebounds on his own. That's like something I not critiqued, but said was one of his weaker skills comparatively compared to the rest of the Pacers centers on yesterday's podcast. He's quite good at a lot of things. He had 6 rebounds. Pascal Siakam had 9. Everyone else, Andrew Nembhard had 6. Everyone else with 5 or fewer for the Pacers. And everybody on the Pacers got 0 offensive rebounds, except for one time Ben Shepherd got an offensive rebound. Once. The Pacers had 1 offensive rebound in this game. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. You get no second chances to score or make another play. Even if you shoot 50%, your offensive efficiency is not going to be that exceptional. The Spurs are a good defensive rebounding team. In fact, so much so that they are first in the NBA in defensive rebound rate. They just played the first offensive rebound rate team in Houston last week. The Spurs a healthy margin first in defensive rebound rate. They do want to do this. It's only 72.5%. Right? So about 3/4, a little less. They got way more than 3/4 of the chances today. 37 out of 38 they got. That's like 95 plus. I mean, it wasn't even close. Closer to 96. So that was huge for the Spurs to get all these extra chances, is that the Pacers got very few extra chances. The Spurs, meanwhile, got 12 offensive rebounds. 3 from Kelly Olynyk, 2 from De'Aaron Fox, 2 from Julian Champagnie, and 1 from a bunch of guys. And so that doesn't sound like this big deal, is that you shoot 6% better from a team and from the field and you shoot way better than them from 3, but that is a huge difference to the point that you lose the game. The shot difference that I noted, 98 for the Spurs, 86 for the Pacers, so plus 12, that primarily came in the first half, almost entirely. 54 first half shots for the Spurs, 41 for the Pacers. The Pacers shot 58.5% in the first half and were down 13 at halftime. And that was primarily the rebounds. The 3 assist gap from the first half basically held into the second half. The first half offensive rebounds were Spurs 9, Pacers 0. The second half of the game, it was a little different how the possession battle showed up. The shot attempts were 44-45 in favor of the Pacers, only plus one for the Pacers. But the free throws shifted, 11 for the Pacers, 21 for the Spurs. That half the Pacers won it by 3, but that wasn't enough. And so despite the Spurs not actually being that awesome in terms of per possession shot efficiency, they ran away with the game because they dominated the possession battle. And I just talked about it. Lucky timing. But still, if the Pacers, and they're right, have this low margin for error, it's not easy to just change your style and be like, let's crash. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Let's crash the glass a little harder, right? Let's go for a few more steals. Like that compromises some of the stuff you want to do. Does it really matter when you're 6-29? Maybe not. But they have to do better in this way. And so whether that's 2 of your worst turnovers a game going away, whether that's a little bit better getting your hands on rebounds. I mean, they had a few that they lost in this game. One that comes to mind that I'm not blaming this player for, but just like Aaron Nesmith's fingers were bothering him. Clearly, they were wrapped at one point, and it hit his hand at one point. His hand hurt so bad, he dropped the ball out of bounds, and the Spurs get it. Like, just stuff like that over the course of a game feels like nothing in the moment, and then it's like, man, if they had 3 more possessions, they might win the game, or 3 away, or taken away from the Spurs, whatever it is. It killed them in this game. It absolutely killed them in this game, among many things. I have so many notes to get to from this one for the Pacers, who've lost 11 straight. That's, I believe, the 5th time in franchise history they've lost 11 in a row. Wow. I am all over the place at the moment. I want to talk about so many things from this game. Micah Potter starting, the run that made it clear the Spurs were about to run away with this one. Johnny Furphy coming in before Jarace Walker, then Jarace not playing in the second half. Kam Jones playing. And so much more from the notebook to continue on today's Locked On Pacers. But first, everybody, let me tell you about FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action even starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Open the FanDuel app. During Happy Hour, it always brings something new. Boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing, it's perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. Little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That is NBA Happy Hour on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making this your first listen today. And every single day, your second listen could be Locked On Spurs. Jeff Garcia will have the other side of this. Wemby day-to-day. Devin Vassell out for a bit. And they still win. Ooh, this Spurs team is really good. Their guards are menaces. They get to the cup all the time. 60 points in the paint for the Spurs. Fox, Wiggly, fast. 10 for 19 for 24 points. Stephon Castle, major L for me. I was not in on him, even after his first year. He wasn't even that efficient in this game, and he looked awesome. 19, 8, and 8. My bad. I didn't think he'd be efficient enough. He is. Dylan Harper can get to the rim. Literally every time he touches the ball, he had 22 points. I'm obsessed with him. He's so good. That was a clear problem early. Pacers couldn't stop getting to the basket. 3 fouls in less than 3 minutes for the Pacers. They had no answers for Castle. And then the third note for me that the Pacers are struggling with, 5 offensive rebounds for the Spurs in the first quarter. That really hurt the Pacers. Possession battle already was a thing. The Spurs go zone in the second quarter, and then the Pacers really fell apart. I don't know what happened. This is when the Spurs went on their run, but the possession that really turned the game, it was like a 5-point game when this happened. Keldon Johnson got hurt taking a layup. He stayed in the game. He wasn't like hurt, but he was banged up. And it was a 5-on-4 for the Pacers. And Jay Huff and Pascal Siakam and Aaron Nesmith and TJ McConnell all kind of trying to take advantage and probe and find where it is. And they're trying to move the ball really fast, but kind of cut into the open space. And they're all cutting too early and like throwing it behind guys. And all of a sudden the pass goes behind TJ McConnell. And it's a turnover and the Spurs score. They were playing 4-on-5 defense and they scored. There were a lot of off-target passes that quarter, a lot of like trying to save something. And so the Spurs were just creating shots with ease. They were up 12 and all of a sudden it just fell apart because I felt like the Pacers shots were pretty good. And then all of a sudden TJ McConnell's taking a tough three and Micah Potter's taking a rushed corner three. And these turnovers are happening and the Spurs big guards are just waltzing to the basket. 71 first half points for the Wemby-less Spurs. It felt like the Pacers took away nothing in that first half. Second game in a row where their second half defense is way better, just way better. 40 first half points for the Spurs, only 20 in the second half. Those guards got to the cup all night. But again, they got better at it throughout the game. Credit to them for that, but it was just shocking to see that first half game flow that I just described really put the Pacers behind, because they did some stuff right away that felt really good. The early threes were falling for the Pacers. That appears to be their thing now. They just make every three to start the game. Like, where was that in the fourth quarter against the Magic? They shot like that in the fourth quarter against the Magic. They'd have won that game. Their offense was working. Gorgeous press break at the end of the first quarter to get TJ McConnell a shot at the basket. Like, they looked connected at that point. And then once the possession battle fell apart, the team completely fell apart. Let's talk about some individuals. Boy, oh boy, do I have a lot of notes about individuals. One, Micah Potter starting the game. And of course, this was like kind of telegraphed when he started the second half against Orlando. And to be clear, I just did a whole segment on this yesterday. Like, he does do stuff that legitimately makes you think, should he stick on the team? He's good. He's a good player right now. Okay. So I understand them being like, let's try it, right? Tony Bradley's still got the wrap on his thumb and hasn't like the lowest ceiling of their centers, even though his floor is totally solid. Jay Huff's been playing just terrible of late, right? Isaiah Jackson's still out. Great. Try it. Why not? So there's that factor that he's playing well. It's also the fact that he played for the Spurs in preseason, and so he knows their setup the best. He knows it well. That does have some value. And then my second note about him in the game was like, is he actually right now just the best center on the team, right? He was playing that well early in this game. Micah Potter, his first start with the Pacers, 5 for 10 from the field, 4 threes, 16 points, 6 boards, +4 in a loss. He looks good, man. He adds that trail three element that Miles Turner had, that for all the threes Jay Huff was making, he did not make a lot of trail threes for this team. Micah Potter moves well, understands what he's supposed to do, tries hard, sets decent screens, rebounded better in this game than he has in other games. This seems like the right starter to me right now. I've said that a lot about a lot of centers at some point this season, and then something happens where a matchup exposes them or a backup plays better than them all of a sudden or whatever. Let's give Micah Potter like a few games to see if he shows up on scouting reports or if the facade of awesomeness goes away. But right now, the guarantee date coming for his contract in a few days, it's hard to argue he should not be starting just on his play. He did have one, like I said, rushed corner three. That's something he's done twice now. He rushed a corner three, I thought, against the Magic as well. And he had a rough pass for a turnover at one point he was very beat up about. Overall, though, quite a good game from him. I think he should keep starting. It's just crazy. Although I will say Jay Huff had a few more productive plays. He had a drive, or he dove, for the ball in the corner right in front of us, actually over on the media side, and it forced Kelly Olynyk to turn it over out of bounds. He had a nice tidy pass to Johnny Furphy in the lane that I thought, okay, like these are the little plays that could stack up to making Jay Huff feel a little more effective when it's not just can he make threes or block shots. He did have 2 blocks. He missed both of his threes in this game. He's like late to a screen and they take him out right away. He still got work to do, but like some little plays that make you go, yeah, okay, maybe that's a thing. A sign that something was coming when it came to Jarace Walker in the first half. First subs for the Pacers of the whole game were Ben Shepherd and Johnny Furphy, and that's fine. Those 2 reserve wings deserve to be playing. I'm not saying that that was the mistake alone, but Furphy hasn't come off the bench in a while. He was starting for a while, but I can't recall him being ahead of Jarace in the rotation ever. So I wrote down, oh, wow, Furphy's going in, before Jarace Walker. Okay, interesting. And then Jarace came in, and Jarace Walker had a productive first half, to his credit. Like, I thought he was overall solid, and some of that was just making shots. He wasn't so exceptional at anything, but he was 4 for 6 with a steal, a rough turnover, but he had 11 points in that first half. He was still minus 12. He still had his flaws, but I didn't think he played bad enough that he wouldn't play again for the whole game. And Furphy had some nice plays. Like, he had some 2 tidy passes he tried to make in the lane. One ended up at a turnover. He made a corner 3. Like, Furphy's looking Furphy-y. He should still be playing. But Jarace Walker did not play in the second half. And I thought that was very surprising. Instead, Kam Jones played, and Kam Jones came in for Mathurin after Mathurin got in foul trouble. We'll get to Mathurin in a second. He did not play very well. But I thought that was really surprising to see no Jarace. There has to be an odd man out. There just does, right? Nesmith, Siakam, Potter, Mathurin, Nembhard. All 5 of those guys are going to play if they start. If you assume the Pacers are playing a 10-man rotation and TJ McConnell is going to be the backup point guard and Jay Huff's going to be the backup center, that leaves 3 spots left for Shepherd, Furphy, Walker, and Kam Jones. And it seems like Shepherd, Furphy, Walker made the most sense to me, but Kam Jones is like, kind of looks okay. We'll see what this holds as. He's a rookie. We have no idea. they need a guard or a ball handler, maybe it's Jones. If they need wings, maybe it's the other guys. But they can't play all of them. They just can't. It's hard. And Kam Jones came in. His first defensive rep, he's on De'Aaron Fox, and he's like shuffling his feet perfectly and kind of coming up on him. He's like forcing him back towards half court. Whoa, Kam Jones with the defense. And he did a lot of fitting in. He only took 3 shots. That's good. That should be what he's trying to do right now. Carlisle postgame said, quote, when he goes in games, good things happen, unquote. That's on Kam Jones. I thought he was totally fine. He was not a disaster on defense, which you never know with a rookie smaller guard. He's not small, he's just smaller. And he fit in. And he had one play with like 80 seconds left where Andrew Nembhard's handling, and Kam Jones just jogs up like right behind him for some reason. And then Nembhard tries to go to the other side of the court, and Jones accidentally is like still following him. And you can tell he realized he was in the wrong spot. That was not right? He's still a rookie, but very telling that Kam Jones played instead of Mathurin, closed the game. Kam Jones played instead of Walker, closed the game over Mathurin after Jarace Walker minutes. Whew. They're lottery picks. Yikes. Good for Kam Jones. I don't think it's wrong that he is like playing or involved, but really goofy how that shook out. I asked post-game about the decision not play Walker in the second half. I expected this answer, but Rick Carlisle just simply said, coach's decision. Okay, we'll see if this continues as a trend. Pascal Siakam kept yelling when he missed, like with agony. I think he hoped he always hopes to play better, but I think something was like actually bothering him. He started the game kind of slow. He finished 10 for 18 with 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. Ho-hum, he's very good. But something was really like sucking it out of him in this game. From a joy perspective, he was like really upset after every miss. I would like to see if there's something to that. Andrew Nembhard, 2 notes on him. He played very well. He had 12 points and 4 rebounds in the first quarter. 12 of the Pacers' first 20 points, 4 of their first 8 rebounds. 7 for 10, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. He was really good. For people who didn't understand what I meant when I said that I felt like his plus-minus numbers were just like fluky nonsense luck, this was a good luck game for him. He was playing on the floor with a lot of the lineups that got crushed and still had a good plus-minus because he impacted the game in a strong way and still got caught with good lineups. He just had, and he still does, had some bad run of getting caught with bad groups, but it's trending in the right direction, both because he's playing better and because of just how normal shooting percentages work. He was still a -4 in this game, to be clear, but he played really well to start the game. Check out Nesmith's fingers or thumb on the next injury report. He had a wrap around it at one point. He kept looking at it and like grimacing at his hand. It was his left hand, so he still was effective. He had 2 gorgeous driving layups in the second half of this game. He made more 2s than 3s on his way to 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Aaron Nesmith looks like Aaron Nesmith. That's great news for the Pacers. They won his 29 minutes by 2 points. Every minute he plays is a delight. Just so much force and oomph and power, and adds pace to the game without being a guard. It's so fun to watch Aaron Nesmith play. 2 more. Ben Shepherd, really great defensive rep on De'Aaron Fox to open the fourth quarter. So far, it's just 2 games. Very small sample. Obviously, this is a player I think is better than everybody else, so it's easy to say this. Not that it's ever hard to say anything, but he looks really good through 2 games. Ben Shepherd is making shots. That helps a lot. He was 3 for 6 with 2 made 3s in this game. 8 points, 3 rebounds for him, and some better defense. We'll see if it holds because he missed everything this season and looked unplayable. But he looks good right now. Ben Mathurin. Look, I don't know what to make of this. I just don't. 1 for 6 in this game. And this was a game where Siakam is seeing a ton of attention from the Spurs. They need someone else to hit the cracks. There's openings on the floor. There's chances for open jumpers. 6 shot attempts for Mathurin, 1 3, 5 boards, 3 assists, a turnover, 5 fouls. That limited his minutes quite a bit. 4th one coming early in the third quarter when he came out for Kam Jones originally. 2 points, -12. They just needed a lot more from him, as they have at many moments this season. This was not a good game for him. He'd be the first to admit it. But that was just kind of weird. Something felt really off. Like, already a lot of his biggest impact games are really reliant on scoring. If he's not scoring at all, it just feels like he's not doing anything. That's the case for a lot of players, to be clear, but it's really the case for somebody like him. And it's possible that he could have defended as well as Kam Jones. I'm not pinning this on Mathurin. This is more likely just a coincidence, but the third quarter run for the Pacers, when they cut it from 19 down to 6, did start basically the second that Kam Jones came in for Ben Mathurin. I want to see him a response game for Mathurin. I know he's capable of it. He looked really good against the Magic. His jumper was great. He made every free throw. I thought he looked pretty good, but he needs a big one. coming up. He just had 25 against Miami. Like somehow people forgot that, but this was tough. This was his, I believe, lowest scoring game of the season. Was really weird. Just really weird. They closed with Kam Jones for a reason. And there it is. That is Pacers Spurs for you on this lovely weekend podcast. Pacers play next on Sunday in Orlando as they try to get their first win in 12 games. We'll do a podcast right after that for Monday. And then finally, back to normal life for everyone. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, everyone going back to work. But that means I can finally not feel bad about bothering guests. So normal routine of me post-game, guests in between this coming week. Contract guarantee date, lots to discuss. Who did the Pacers keep? Who didn't they keep? What can they do? It seems like it's obvious what this is trending towards, which is hilarious because when I explained the topic to you the first time, it felt like something different. It felt like it'd be keep Tony Bradley, waive Micah Potter. Now I think the exact opposite, but we'll see as more evidence is presented in the next two games, the last two before that cut down date. Thank you all so much for listening today. You can find me on social media at Tony R. East and this podcast at Locked On Pacers. Thank you all so much for listening today. Have a good rest of your weekend. We will see you on Monday.